do is fly from Mississippi over to Alabama. And as I was going over there, they saw where I were, and they told me keep going, turn around, and go back to what was the other state there, Georgia or something. Well, anyhow, but I landed in Georgia, and then I was okay. And this was all set up, and I had to do this, and I had to hit these 3 bases in this cross country. And the last base was across the Mississippi over in Arkansas at Little Rock. So I went over there and touched down, and I was flagged off to keep going to go back to Greenville, where I was, and that was 450 miles. It took me about 6-7 hours to do it, and I completed my cross country and stuff. So the other thing then, and I was one of the first to complete it out of my 5 of us here. I was a damn good pilot. In fact, when I would sit down at a big table where there was 8 or 10 people eating or doing something, everybody would flock around me because you couldn't do any cheating in there, but you wrote everything on paper, you know. But they would want to sit close to me so they could look at what I was writing, and they would copy that. I had nothing to do with that. But no way, if they would catch you cheating, you're gone, see? And so they all grouped around me. I was that kind of a pilot, I was a good pilot. So here's what happened. I couldn't get my dual training in because of the weather, because he was a damn gold brick and so forth, and all 5 of his students there, he could not get the duel in because of the weather of each, get 12 hours of duel to 5 students, see? And so I says, well, just forget it, let me out of it. But what we were doing is then we're up and was learning formation flying. Now, this is what he was doing. So one day he says, now, today we're going up and teach you formation flying. I don't know, have you ever been a pilot? You ever fly an airplane? Okay. All right, what they would do, we would get another instructor with his student and ask him to go out with us, and then we were going to fly. I have my instructor in the VT-13, and I was going to fly formation to him, but the other guy flew straight, see, because all of the Air Forces, you fly in groups. You get tight as you can be, and that's you have the firepower and stuff. So he says, we're going to do some formation flying. In the morning I went up with him there. So we got up, and as you get close to an airplane in the air, you get damn nervous because one's doing this and the other's doing this, and you can't get too close, see? Well, I think I got within maybe from here, maybe down there to the edge of my lake, and I thought that's close enough, you know. Maybe, say, 100 feet or something like that. And he says, here, let me show you something. I says, yes, sir. He took that damn airplane. Now, the other guy was flying straight and level. And he went over and lapped the wing of my airplane over the other guy's airplane about 12 inches. But here's the secret of it. The closer you get to an airplane, the less movement you have. But you don't know that because you're both in the same air pocket. He got over there, and what he done is, the guy says, now that's the way you fly formation. He says, see?
Unbelievable.
Shit my pants. But that's kind of a pilot, one of the finest pilots I've ever seen, and they kept him as an instructor. And he didn't want to be an instructor. He wanted to go over and fly the other things, see?
Sure.
And so what happened is when I said, well, let me out of this business, because I had, well, I don't want to get you into the details, but what happened, I was returned back to Nashville then, since I didn't finish my pilot training. Mm-hmm. But what I had learned to do, I had learned to fly an airplane. The only thing that was left for me to do is to use them as a weapon. Let me take you ahead a step, and that is this. The group that I was with and graduated my class, which was in a class of 43D, 43D would be the third or 43D, I think it would be the 4th month in 1943, because they graduate once every month. What was I saying there?
To learn how
Okay,
to...
what I was saying is this: is my class that did graduate, the guys that I flew with, I knew, got pilot's license, were sent over to Europe and sent down to the desert. When the Germans met with their tanks and the British, and it was a major part of World War II. They went and clashed together.
North Africa.
And what we would have had was P-40s. The P-51s come later that we, in the fighter group for the phone, we have P-40s. I would not be here today if I would have went down there, because the Germans had the Messerschmitts, and was so superior to the P-40s that we had that they wiped us out down there, if you look at history. So it's the smartest thing ever done. I didn't want to do it, but because I couldn't complete it and I didn't want to drop back a class, is why I've done it. And it's a smart, it's the most fortunate thing I ever done in my life. I doubt if I'd be here today to tell you about it, because we had these P-40s, they just didn't have the power. They were no match to the Messerschmitt. But see, the Germans, what they had prepared for World War II a long time. They trained people. They had excellent pilots, excellent equipment, everything. That's why they could advance like they did. Until we started out and didn't know nothing and how to train everything and go through it, you know what I mean? They had superiority to our. So they went clear into Moscow and took all of Austria and everything else in Europe. They were Hitler was a superior. He knew what he was doing on his way to do it his way. See. So what happened is I was reassigned then to Salt Lake City, which is a reclassification center, and it was so damn. Well, then they found out that I had no record of ever firing the carbine, which I did fire, but they lost my damn records. And what you've got to do is you've got to have that was the military record for pilots. You had to have a carbine. So I was sent up to a mountain there. It was 20,000 foot high, back in Salt Lake City, or 10,000 feet, where it was froze to death. And you just spend so damn much time there to reshoot the damn carbine before, which you did, because it wasn't on the records and I had qualified on it. So while I was there, in the mornings you'd go out and you would have to wash dishes and you'd have to do all kinds of work and stuff like this just to use the time up until they could get a place to reassign you. So while I was there, I run into a person that was in my same room when I was at Langley Field that had went through and become an officer. And what he done here, he says, "Hey, Charlie," I met him one day up there, and he's running the office up there, and he knew I had office experience. He says, "Why don't you come up and work with me up here in a nice warm office up here in I forget what it was up on the mountains behind Salt Lake City." And I said, "Well, I'll be glad to do that." I says, "What do you do?" And he was going to send you at different places then for the qualifications you had. They give me. And I had this clerical experience, so I could sit down and take care of the gals and stuff there that he had and do the work he wanted. He says, "And you see something you like, let me know." So here I seen that they were forming a new air base group down in Tucson, Arizona. Says, "I want to go to Tucson where it is warm." He says, "Okay, we'll set it up." So they assigned me to Tucson. Yeah, and there formed this new 493rd Bomb Group. And what happens is I wasn't down there more than a month or three weeks or a month, and they decided we do all our training up in Nebraska at McCook, where it was cold again. You know what I mean? That's where we went and finished the damn thing. And so when I was